Hello my friends, so this is a video response part 1 of 8. So, I hope you enjoy.
Alright, so let's go ahead and do a very lengthy and extensive and deep study on what's going on in Syria. Okay, so we've done studies like this before in regards to ISIS, but what's actually going on right now is I'm talking about the sons of Cain, I'm talking about the synagogue of Satan. Most people call it Illuminati, okay?
They, sons of Cain, synagogue of Satan. What the hell are you talking about? The Illuminati?
You're traveling through to another dimension. A dimension of not only paranoia and delusion, but of idiocy. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of pure ignorance. Your next stop, the batshit crazy zone.
If you can't identify who Illuminati are, you're SOL.
Well, I guess I'm shit out of luck then.
Alright, so what they're doing is actually honoring ISIS.
The Illuminati are honoring ISIS?
With human sacrifice.
With human sacrifice? I don't even really need to debunk this video. This person is debunking this video all by themselves.
Okay, so as far as yesterday is concerned, yesterday was basically what is called a black moon.
A black moon. For those of you who don't know what a black moon is, within a particular month, like let's say March, if there is a new moon, 2 new moons in that one month, the second moon is called a black moon. Much like how a blue moon is the second full moon in one month. So a full moon and a blue moon, a black moon and a blue moon occur approximately every 2.5 years.
So you can actually identify black moon with certain types of images, songs, and etc. Movies as well that we all have available to us that...
Yes, you could associate pretty much anything you want with the black moon. So fucking what?
Incorporate death, etc. into whatever they do. Okay, so if we were to consider like people that offer on their forums stories about dead fish.
What do dead fish have to do with a black moon? How are you stringing all these random things together?
Stories about just any kind of death, mostly dead fish.
Sadly, some of these events are caused by humans poisoning water, and sometimes it is a natural occurrence. When, for example, when certain algae reach a certain population, they can give off poisons, or if they die, or if large quantities of algae die, and they can give off a certain poison, and then it poisons the water and mass amounts of fish die. Or sometimes it can be humans introducing high levels of mercury or lead or other poisons into a water source.
When you are posting stories about, death, particularly dead fish, what you're really doing is you are pointing at the death of Jesus Christ or the crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
What?
And the reason being is because the fish actually represents the fisher of men, which is Jesus Christ.
The characters that make up the name in Greek also can be read as fish. So this was kind of a play on words that happened with the Greek word for fish. So the idea of the Greek word for fish got associated with the Christ. So it became a fish symbol to represent a safe haven for Christians, or a place to meet for Christians, or kind of a code word for Christians to talk to one another. But as for an actual fish representing the Christ, that is really a stretch, because not every single fish represents Christ.
So mostly people that are doing this sort of thing are unfortunately, Christians, okay, the synagogue of Satan, the sons of Cain.
Again, with this synagogue of Satan, what are you using to establish this? You just keep throwing words out there, but you don't establish any direct connection, nor do you verify the validity of your assertion that there is a synagogue of Satan.
Actually get other people to go along with what they do, and they usually go along with what they do according to their calendar. Okay.
Are you implying that there are mindless minions of people blindly doing whatever they think they're doing according to some calendar?
So if you don't know the right calendar, then you are basically going to be following along with the pagan calendar.
Pagan calendar, we all use the same calendar. It's just that certain days fall on different days for celebrations. So, for example, Christmas falls on December the 25th. However, Yule can occur at a different time depending upon when the winter solstice is. The same thing with Halloween, which is a Christian holiday, and Samhain, which is a pagan holiday. Both of them usually occur around October 31st for Halloween, November 1st for Samhain.
Okay, and the pagan calendar actually consists of pagan holidays. Okay, so right now we're on this holiday right here. It's called Mabon.
Many do not call the September equinox Mabon, but that's a whole nother video.
So if you don't know what Mabon is, you should do some studying up on it, because it basically has to do with the autumn equinox and the sun actually going into the autumn equinox. Okay, so
yes, it does have something to do with the sun. The equinoxes is when the sun is shining directly on the area of the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. And so what happens is there is equal amounts of daylight and equal amounts of nighttime on that particular day. Thus it is called the equinox. The first equinox represents the end of winter and the beginning of summer when days get longer. The second equinox represents when the days of sunlight begin to get shorter.
When we see certain things that are going on as far as society is concerned, you should really know that whatever goes on as far as death or human sacrifice, to incorporate, our guys in the military or whoever.
Pagans do not commit human sacrifice. And this is a really, really disturbing and awful association to have with pagans.
It is only because of the human sacrifices that are being made. Okay, unfortunately, right now, the United States military has taken a really huge step, and there's going to be a backlash because of the step that they took. Okay, so let's go ahead and let this roll about the right at the very beginning. It's called Air Force Dumps, quote, "So help me God," from oath. Okay, so let's go ahead and let this roll, and you are going to be seeing some things in the future, in the near future, because of this, because of what's going on right here. Let's go ahead and let it roll.
Air Force dumps the phrase "So help me God" from enlistment oath. Members of the United States Air Force will no longer be required to say "So help me God" during the enlistment oath.
Good. We should strive to maintain a secular military, despite what a lot of people are under the false assumption of. America is a secular country. We welcome all different faiths and all different religions. In turn, because of the way that the First Amendment is written, is that no one single religion should be the dominant religion.
All right, so let's go ahead and read from Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 14, and we'll go on to number 2. Okay, quote, "For the Lord thy God walketh in the midst of the camp to deliver thee and to give up thine enemies before thee. Therefore shall thy camp be holy, that he see no unclean thing in thee, and turn away from thee. So what this verse really means is that God is basically saying, I'm going to be in the middle of your camp, okay?
Again, our nation is a secular nation. And as a result, our military should be a secular military. We do not want to put on the appearance that our military is associated with any one particular religion, because it should not be. It is a secular military. It should be maintained as a secular military.
Unless I see something that is unclean. Okay, this could actually mean several different things. It could mean, homosexuality. It could mean just lots of different things.
No, the truth is what you want it to mean. You interpret your Bible the way that you see fit. As for the actual interpretation of it, it has been translated so many different times that the meanings are all off. And I don't know who you are to be able to interpret the word of your God.
But to blatantly take an oath where you are excluding God from your midst or from the middle of your camp, because God is most assuredly walking in the middle of the camp of the Israelites.
Again, a secular nation, a secular military.
Until they turn away from him, okay, which seems to have happened. So it's just not a good time right now if you're a Christian.
Christians are not being oppressed. No one is telling Christians that because they are Christians, they cannot marry who they want to marry.
Right here, he says, turn away from thee. So because of what happened, okay, in regards to the oath or whatever, don't expect to see certain guys, okay, winning their battles anymore.
Wow, that is really disgusting. So you're telling us that our military men and our military women who are dying, serving our country, are dying because they turn their back on God? Would you like to tell that to the families of these deceased military personnel? Would you like to tell their children, their friends, their loved ones?
Okay, unfortunately. And basically it's a prophecy. It's prophesied in the Bible. So it is what it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to number 2. And we are going to get into certain names or other names that are being used that represent, what's her face? ISIS. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to number 2.
So we'll talk about what's her name in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this and look for part 2 next week. Thank you and blessed be.